Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry, 24/7 shopping available. 160920 is the code. Show her some love, like she showed us.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. I am Ace, and I'm joined tonight by, that's right, J-Mac and Biscuits. And then, of course, I'm also joined tonight by none other than Chris. How you guys doing tonight?
Doing good.
Not too bad.
All right, so as you know, Saturdays now is what we call Open Forum. It's been going on for a couple weeks. So basically all it is we come on here without basically any topics whatsoever. We just talk about anything that our little heart desires in the sports world. And I want to welcome in none other than Brandon Herrera, that is on the side over there and saying, what's up, guys? So how you doing tonight, Brandon? I hope everything's going good for you. And I'm glad that you're on here watching. And yes, Albert signs with the Dodgers. That's obviously something that we are definitely going to be talking about. I mean, it's not like huge because Albert Pujols is getting up there in age, but it's still definitely something that we're going to be talking about. So with that, of course, that is what's going to kick us off in our little bit of Open Forum, is that Albert Pujols, who got released by the Angels, now came out and signed with the Dodgers. So to me personally, is this really surprising? It's really not, because when you look at this, everybody's signing with the Dodgers now. That's what it is. Everybody's signing with Dodgers. Everybody's signing with the Yankees. It's now this whole super team thing has gone over from the NBA, and now it's gone over to MLB. And pretty much anybody's trying to do whatever they can to build a super team. So, J-Mac, this is going to come to you. What is your thoughts on Albert Pujols signing with the LA Dodgers?
I think he'll give him a good bat off the bench. I think that he can be a good bat for him down the stretch. But it's kind of crap. You get all these guys signing with the same team, making a super team. I'm not for super teams, so I don't really care for the signing too much, to be honest.
All right, yeah. Chris, what do you think?
I mean, yeah, the super teams, I'm not big on them either, but I also think that maybe Pujols didn't want to move out of Los Angeles, and maybe I know the Dodgers probably reached out and said we wanted to sign you, but it was probably also he didn't want to leave the area, and he probably didn't also want to end his career. I mean, he's been playing for a while, and he probably wants to continue that.
I mean, obviously, Albert is not going to be an everyday player. He's just not going to be. He's going to be somebody that's coming off the bench. But when you look at overall impact of the impact that Pujols will make, what impact do you think that Albert will actually make? Well, coming off the bench, I mean, he's going to be a bench guy, obviously. But is it going to make a huge impact? I don't know, because he's not the same Albert that he used to be. He doesn't come out and hit as many dingers as he used to. He doesn't hit for high average. He's just going to be that veteran presence.
I understand, and maybe he doesn't hit as many dingers as he used to, but do you realize that in 92 plate appearances this year, he had 5 home runs? So, I mean, if you exponentiate that over an entire season, you're talking, he could still hit 15 homers this year and 300 at-bats. That's pretty good numbers for a guy that's 41 years old.
And if you come off the bench, you have fresh legs, so to speak, and you have a fresh player. So
yeah, so I mean, a couple spot starts here and there at first base or DH even, and when they play interleague against American League teams. he could, like I said, he could still come out and hit 15, 20 homers this year, which I think it would be a big off their bench.
And the LA Dodgers actually just made it. They made a trade too with the Tampa Bay Rays. They traded for they acquired a veteran infielder and Yashimoto Sudogo, which since he's come over from Japan, he has struggled. He's only batted a 187 since being over here. So it looks like what the Dodgers are trying to do is they're really trying to bolster their bench. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make their bench deep because I think if one thing that the Dodgers have struggled with the most, that's what they have been struggling with is the bench. They don't have a lot of veteran bench, and
I was just gonna say, maybe their bench, but also their defense. They've actually struggled in defense. I think they rank like 22nd or 23rd in defense this year in Major League Baseball. So as good as they've been, they haven't been great at fielding the ball. So even those guys that are only hitting 180, but they're solid defensive players, those guys can mean a lot because they can play a second base, a shortstop, a third base, and give your everyday guy a day off. And maybe the bat's not there, but at least defensively they can keep you up on the defensive side of things. So there's a lot to be said for a utility guy that's really good at defensively.
Well, I've always said that utility guys in baseball is huge. Now, I'm going to tell you, it really depends on the utility guy because if you look at the Atlanta Braves with Juan Camargo, he's supposed to be a utility guy, but I don't like him.
Well, I'll be honest. I think we signed our utility guy this year in Adrianza. The guy,
absolutely.
He's played already 6 different positions this year for the Braves. So, he's played right field, center field, left field, second base, shortstop, and third base in different games this year. So, and he's actually played every position in Major League Baseball since he got called up, including pitcher. He pitched twice for the Twins. So he's definitely a utility guy, and he can hit. And he's not just one of those guys that can't hit. He can hit, too. So
I will say this, Brandon, because Brandon left a comment that said, hey, the Packers signed another quarterback. Yes, I know they signed another quarterback, but it wasn't anybody huge. So, number one, all right, they go out and they sign a backup quarterback in Blake frickin' Bortles. All right, Blake Bortles.
Not bad as a backup, though. As a backup, he's not bad.
Well, okay. I get that, but here's the thing, okay? This is the thing that you may not be thinking about, Chris, because just think about this. What if Rodgers leaves? And then LaFleur and them were like, oh, Jordan Love isn't ready. Guess who you're freaking stuck with your starting quarterback? You're stuck with Blake Bortles.
Okay. Not disagreeing with you. I'm not at all disagreeing with being stuck with Blake Bortles. However, it's a little bit different situation than it was in Jacksonville for him. True. In the fact of the offense can run through Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon.
Well, they can, but...
So we don't have to throw the ball 45 times a game when we can just run the ball and he can be a game manager. He can be a Ryan Tannehill, or...
I wouldn't even put them in the same conversation, to be perfectly honest.
I mean, look at anyone from the past. You could look at Brad Johnson. You could look at any of those guys. He can definitely be that guy in the right system, and we have the right system in place for that. And I'm not saying he's a great quarterback. Don't get me wrong. I'm not even saying that. But
you may be a bad player at one team and then go to another team and be a good quarterback. It just depends on what system and what team you have.
Now, the fact is that we didn't really get better on defense, so unfortunately we're still going to have to score like 45 points a game.
And with Blake Bortles as your quarterback, you're not going to do that, which jumps into the next quarterback that we signed, which is Ben Kurt. We signed him now. So now he's technically our fourth stringer, technically. So, but he's more of a camp arm anyways. We're not going to keep him around much longer anyways. He'll come in for camp. We'll cut him, and then that'll be pretty much it. So let's say Rodgers does stay. You'll probably end up with Rodgers and then you'll end up with Jordan Love or Blake Bortles. But who's to even say, let's say that Rodgers stays, and who's to even say that Jordan Love is going to be the actual backup? Maybe it's Blake Bortles is the backup, because if Jordan Love isn't ready, I don't think they're going to use him as a backup.
But I think that new quarterback they signed, either they'll keep him for camp, or they'll just put him on the practice squad.
Are you talking about Bortles?
No, the first name you said, not Rodgers. Yeah,
Kurt Ben Kurt.
Yeah,
Ben Kurt. Yeah.
Yeah.
They could put him on practice squad, considering that they expanded that.
Mm-hmm.
They could, but I think that it's tough. I don't know, because if Jordan Love isn't ready, are you going to cut Jordan Love? I guarantee you right now.
No, they're not going to cut Jordan Love.
Goot is not going to cut Jordan Love because he drafted him in the first round. He's not going to cut him. So does he go to the practice squad if he doesn't make the backup role? Because most teams only carry 2 quarterbacks to a game now. So will it be Love? Will it be Bortles? So
well, you got to think. Last year, Love didn't even dress. He didn't even dress for any game. He sat on the bench the whole year and carried a clipboard. So
I understand.
A
So
lot of quarterbacks done that.
So maybe that's what he'll do again this year if they don't think he's ready. Now, Brandon Herrera is coming out saying the Packers quarterback battle in preseason will be Love versus Locke once the trade happens. Ugh. Huh. Let's not go into detail there, because I don't think. Yeah, that's not going to happen. Would you rather have Locke or Bridgewater, though? I mean,
I don't want either one.
Right?
At that point, I think I'd rather have Devontae Adams as my quarterback.
I think I'd rather have Tim Boyle. At least give Tim Boyle, even though Tim Boyle went to our rival in Detroit. Yeah, it's terrible, horrible. But jumping away from this topic now, jumping into some other ones.
I got one.
Okay, go ahead.
I want to say congratulations to Mr. Tyler Flowers. He retired yesterday. We re-signed him to a minor league contract in Atlanta. He lasted a week. But, hey, it was a great career. I mean, we can't take anything away from what Tyler Flowers did the last 5 years in Atlanta. And he may not have put up great numbers. I mean, he only hit, 246, but
he was that veteran.
He was that veteran backstop. What he was great at was framing. He was the best of all the catchers we had at framing the ball. He got us a lot of outs, a lot of strikeouts. So he definitely, great career, Mr. Ty. You don't hang around 14 years in the major leagues as a catcher and not know what you're doing. So congratulations, Mr. Tyler Flowers. Right off into the sunset. Enjoy your retirement. You will still be one of my all-time favorite Braves. Even you were there 5 years, doesn't matter. I was so happy when we re-signed him. I'm like, yeah, we'll bring him back, and then he retired. But I mean, that's okay. But Tyler Flowers still be one of my favorite Braves of all time.
I feel like he kind of flipped there, and what I mean by that is because I know multiple times in the past, you're like, oh, really, Tyler frickin' Flowers. Like you weren't big on the guy, but now you're saying that he was one of your favorite Braves.
I was definitely higher on him than I was on some of our other catchers.
Well, I mean, if you spend more than 10 years in any sport,
you're doing something right.
Yeah.
I mean, should we really go into the whole, Alex Jackson or Waters? Those were failed experiments at catcher. We got William Contreras pounding the ball right now. Why would we bring anyone else in? Jeff Mathis gives us the veteran leadership. By the way, Jeff Mathis is not a good hitting catcher. He's not good. His career average is like 194. So he's not a good hitting catcher. But Jonathan Mathis has been in the league for 17 seasons as a catcher.
It's a long time.
So he definitely will be good for our young pitchers. He will teach them a lot about pitching. That you don't stay around 17 years. Again, like we're saying, more than 10 years in a sport, you know what you're doing. There's a reason why you keep getting signed. I think we're okay at catcher. I can't wait till Darno comes back, to be honest, because he gives us the offense. But I'm okay with where we're at. William Contreras being our everyday catcher, and then Jeff Mathis coming in once in a while and bringing that veteran leadership.
So before we go on a little bit more, I'm going to go ahead and give you a quick roundup of the scores here in the WNBA. So on the WNBA side, we had the Chicago Sky, who came out and beat the Washington Mystics, and they won 70-56. So, and just keep in mind that the season just started.
The first games tonight for these teams, by the way.
Yeah.
Last night was the first 4 games. Tonight was 2 games. Yep.
And then here's the thing. This is the games that we've been waiting for. This is what we've been waiting for right here. This was the Las Vegas Aces versus the Seattle Storm. And we've been talking about this. We said these were going to be 2 of the best teams in the WNBA. And guess what? The Seattle Storm came out and beat the Las Vegas Aces 97-83. And we came out and said that these 2 teams were going to be 2 of the best in the NBA.
And they play again Tuesday. They played today against those 2 teams, and they played Tuesday. Same 2 teams.
Real quick, I just want to give a shout out to our cousin Rachel Fleming. Thanks for watching. Just showed up on my phone that she is watching right now. So, watching from afar, we appreciate it. Leave us a comment, leave us a like, share the page, please.
So that was what I just want to do a quick round of the WNBA scores. So now going back to what you were trying to say before. So Brandon actually has a comment quick that says, just like a Braves fan, avoid the twin score because they won on a snow bomb. Okay, I never avoided that score. I was talking about the WNBA. We'll get into some MLB scores, but we're not quite there yet. So, J-Mac, going back to what you were saying something before. I'm sorry I cut you off. I just wanted to talk about the scores.
Oh, no, I was just saying that, I'm fine where we are, Atlanta Braves right now. I'm fine where we are at catcher. I wish we had Darno for the offense, like I said. But William Contreras is really – he's a lot better than I thought he was going to be, really is our everyday catcher. And then Jeff Mathis has been in the league 17 years, so he can bring along our younger pitchers, I think, with no problem. He'll give them that great veteran leadership, give them tips that they might not have thought of. So I'm really happy with our signings. And then we got Jonathan Lucroy today, who is going to go to AAA, and if we need an emergency backstop, we're able to call him up. So I think we're sitting good right now. But I got a question for you, Ace. Coming into this year, if you would have told me that our best center fielder would have been Heredia, I would have told you.
I never would have believed it. Yeah.
Right. I wouldn't have believed either. I thought someone was drunk if they told me that.
Oh, absolutely. But speaking of MLB records, okay, speaking of that, because you remember that GM game that we attempted to do and it didn't work out because we made the switch and everything and we lost some people, and we talked about who we thought was going to be some of the worst teams in baseball. Well, let me tell you, 2 of the worst teams in baseball are both in the AL Central. Okay, number 1, if you would have told me right now that the Twins would have been 13-24 at this point in time, I would have said you were lying. I would have said there's no way. I wouldn't have believed it. And the Twins sitting at 13-24, these are some of the teams that are better than the Minnesota Twins at this point. Yeah, the Detroit Tigers are better than them by a game. By 1 game, technically, they're better than the Twins. And the Tigers are horrible. All right, you have the Angels, which is kind of surprising that they're as bad as they are. A lot of people hyped the Angels up and said that this year the Angels were going to be good. I said that, though, that the one thing that the Angels were going to struggle with was pitching. And so far, that's been one of the big things is pitching. The Angels just don't have the pitching. They have the lineup. They don't have the pitching. Okay. And then the Washington Nationals at 15-19. And this is a team that we all said, how are they going to do any good? You know who's better than the Minnesota Twins at this point in time? The frickin' Pittsburgh Pirates. They're better than the Twins. They're better than the Tigers. They're actually better than some teams. And we said that we said that the worst team in baseball we thought was going to be the Pittsburgh Pirates. And they're actually better than 4 or 5 teams right now.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. This year's kind of crazy in MLB. But I want to tell everyone, I never look at a team's record, and I never go off anything until June 1st. June 1st is the first day that I look at a team's record and tell you what they are. And there's some reasons for that. First off, so with the win today, the Braves are 19-20 with the win today. And being 19-20, they are 2 games out of first place in the division. 2.
Wow.
So think, and that team is the team that we have a 3-game series against on Monday. So think about that. You're 19-20, but you're only 2 games out of first place. So June 1st is really when you can start looking at your season as to what your record is and what kind of team you are. That's why I'm not worried right now. And you get a lot of injuries. I heard a one today watching a little bit of the game that the Brewers, I mean, we got to give them some slack here because the Brewers have had 41 guys on their active roster in 40 games.
Wow.
41 players. And 21 of them were pitchers.
Yeah, and guess what? They're sitting at 500.
Yeah.
They're sitting at 20-20.
I mean,
So they haven't had a horrible season so far.
That team, if they get healthy, man, they're going to be a good team. Think about that. They're 500 when they have had, what did I hear? They had, 41 players on their active roster, and 16 guys have been on the IL this year for them. So, and they're at 500. Think about that for a minute. And I don't think that that's going to be a horrible thing, honestly. They're going to be a team that's going to make a run when they get healthy. So
I'm going to throw this out there really quick, and it's only because we talked about it on Wednesday when we talked about the Preakness and Medina Spirit. We talked about it on Wednesday, and we said what would happen if Medina Spirit won. Well, guess what? Medina Spirit did not end up winning. Medina Spirit actually ended up finishing second behind Ron Bauer. So congratulations to Ron Bauer for winning Preakness. I just think it would have been interesting to see exactly what would have happened had Medina Spirit actually won it because of all the controversy that was going on before. So if Medina Spirit would have won this, there would have been a little bit of controversy going on. So
I don't know about little, but
no, there would have been.
Medina Spirit didn't win, so.
No, but I was just saying, I was throwing that out there and saying congratulations to Ron Bauer for getting the victory and beating Medina Spirit because we had talked about it and we said, what if this happens? And
there's this thing called karma in life, and you kind of get what you deserve. So when you're Medina Spirit and you're all the guys, you're the owner and the jockey and the trainer all behind them. You're like, we didn't do anything wrong. We're going to come out and win the Kentucky Derby. And then you don't win the Kentucky Derby. Guess what? That's called karma. So good for you, Ron Bauer, to come out and win. Because that's what they deserved. So.
All right. Chris, I'm going to jump over to you and say, is there a topic that you wanted to talk about?
Please not the Cowboys.
No, it's not.
I know he wants to.
No, I'm good. We were talking about the WNBA earlier, and they're mentioning like roster sizes and different comparisons about the league and how others are formed. I think they said that they suit up only 12 players. Like per game, and then they went into other stuff, but they went too fast. But it was like different league stuff that every league does compared to them.
Right. By the way, speaking on basketball, I'm not going to get into a whole big thing about basketball, but I want to say congratulations to my favorite player from my favorite team of all time, Mr. Timmy Duncan. put into the Hall of Fame today. You got your Hall of Fame ring, your Hall of Fame ceremony. What a speech, by the way, brought tears to my eyes to listen to him. And Popovich was there, and just a great thing. So Tim Duncan, well-deserved career, man, Hall of Fame all the way, 5 championships. The list goes on of everything you did in your career. And then my favorite player that wasn't from San Antonio, by the way, is Kevin Garnett. And wouldn't it be fitting that Tim Duncan and Kevin Garnett go into the Hall of Fame at the same time? So 2 of the best to ever play, 2 of the best to ever do it, and you both went in the Hall of Fame today. Congratulations on that.
Didn't Kobe Bryant get in?
And Kobe Bryant's daughter, Kobe Bryant's daughter accepted his Hall of Fame induction today. Definitely was a tearful day if you're a basketball fan. But congratulations to all of you. Well-deserved careers on getting into the Hall of Fame for sure. Does anyone have a problem with either of those guys being in the Hall of Fame today, by the way, Kevin Garnett or Tim Duncan? I mean, just phenomenal players.
I do with Duncan.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I said it because you were a San Antonio fan. So
yeah,
I was like, yeah, obviously that's why I said it, because I have nothing good to say about my team. I don't. I mean, I have nothing good to say about us whatsoever. I was just glad that the other day on the MI6 network that I went on, that we were actually able to have a little topic about the Pistons, because how often does that actually happen? We never actually get to talk about the Pistons much. And we actually got to talk about, because the Pistons just extended Dwayne Casey.
And so are we supposed to be happy about that?
Yes, you're supposed to be happy about it.
All right, I was just checking. If you tell me I'm supposed to be happy about it, okay, cool.
Yes,
if it makes you happy, if it makes you feel good about your team that they extended Dwayne Casey, then I'm happy for you.
And the only reason I'm happy about it is because I know a lot of people want to come out here and say that what has Dwayne Casey done in Detroit? Really, if that's what you're trying to say, what has he done in Detroit? What has any coach in the last 15 years or whatever done in Detroit? Absolutely nothing. We've had Stan Van Gundy, who came in and just completely just destroyed and just annihilated our freaking franchise by going out and getting rid of basically the farm for Blake Griffin. What a freaking joke, because we're like the only dumb enough team to actually go out there and take a contract like that on Blake Griffin, and that's why we couldn't get rid of him in a trade, because no other team is dumb enough to take that amount of money off of a washed-up player that can barely stay on the court. So I was just glad that we actually got a decent coach that was willing to stay and take an extension. Now, J-Mac, I'm going to go to you on this and say, okay, if you're Dwayne Casey, does this actually surprise you that he decided to take an extension with the Detroit Pistons?
Yeah. Because if I'm Dwayne Casey, I'm probably looking for my way out and be like, man, this team sucks. But I will tell you, though, I'll tell you this, that there's a radio show I listen to on my way to work. And again, like I said, it's to try to pick up tips and make my own radio show better. But I was listening to them talk about the NBA, and they were talking about some teams on there. And they actually didn't mention the Pistons in this, which I was like, how do you skip over them? But anyway, they didn't mention them. But they talked specifically about the Houston Rockets and the Oklahoma City Thunder. And they described them. They said that those two teams, the only way to describe them is they are purely ass.
Okay, so I will agree with you on that, because the Houston Rockets, though, right now are a complete mess. Okay, they are a mess. The Rockets' best players at that time was basically Christian Wood, who's been in and out of the lineup, has not been able to stay healthy, and then besides trying to stay healthy, he can also you also have what's his name? You also have John Wall, who's starting to get up there in age, he can't stay healthy either. So yeah,
Well,
so
it's funny
saying complete ass. That's actually accurate. Like that is 100% accurate. They're ass. Now the Thunder, they're definitely not as bad as the Pistons. The Pistons are atrocious. I don't know how you did not throw the Pistons name in there.
That's what I was saying. Like, how do you not put the Pistons in there? But anyway, yeah, he was talking about that. But I gotta say, man, Dwayne Casey and Brandon's saying 81 wins and 138 losses for Detroit, well-earned contract. I mean, Detroit probably saw a guy that was only 50 games under 500 in his career, and they were like, we got to keep him around.
Well, I mean, but you got to think, though, you had Van Gundy there, though, too, which was the same way in Detroit before he got there. Van Gundy was like pretty much the same way when you think about it. He had a winning record. He did a lot of great things with other teams. But now he went to Detroit and completely just killed our franchise because the problem was that they gave him too much power. They're basically like, you have the ability to trade and sign or whatever players you want. And I think they learned from that, and they're not giving Dwayne Casey the same power that they gave Van Gundy.
Yeah, that's probably true. I mean, I think a coach should coach and a GM should be the GM. I've always thought that. So whenever you give a guy GM, GM power when he's a coach, how can he really concentrate on coaching when he's thinking about, everything else that's going on and all the player personnel moves and all that? So let the coaches coach, let the GMs be the GMs. That's the way it should be.
And we have a comment in the comment section from Jamel, and I'm sorry if I said your name wrong. I'm trying to get it right. But Jamel, you can hit me up on Messenger if it's something that you are interested in. We are looking for a few more people, so go ahead and hit me up on my Messenger. And then I do agree with your comment that Kentucky would have beat Detroit Pistons this year. Absolutely. There's a lot of college teams that could have beat the Pistons this year. There's a lot of college teams that could have beat the Houston Rockets. There's some college teams that could have beat the Minnesota Timberwolves. I mean, we had some horrible teams this year.
Yeah, Brandon Herrera. And I agree, the best high school team could probably beat Detroit and Minnesota. Yep, probably.
Well, let's not go that far, okay? Because they are professionals for a reason. So I'm not going to go as far as saying a high school team. I won't.
Well, I think the players that are professionals for Minnesota and Detroit are professionals because no other team wanted them.
Hey, Jeremiah Grant, okay? Jeremiah Grant, who used to be a Pacer, he wasn't horrible for the Pacers. We got him, and now he's our best player.
Who?
Yeah, you're saying who. Exactly who. Okay. and who, exactly.
Who?
All right. So that was my little mini rant on the Detroit Pistons, I shall say. So
let's see. Do I have another mini rant? I'm sure I got one in me. Oh man, what's a mini rant on now? There's so many things you could go off on right now.
Okay, so just think. The Spurs, okay, let's jump on the Spurs here for a second, because the Spurs are actually a team that is technically relevant at this point in time, that they have a chance at actually, well, they are in, they're going to probably end up as the 10 seed as a play-in game. Okay, so as a play-in game. Still, they're horrible.
Hey, at least they're in the playoffs.
At least they're in a play-in game.
Yeah, I mean, okay, but still, like.
Well, I mean,
we went on the downside when we decided to bring LaMarcus freaking Aldridge to San Antonio. He was never the same player when he left Portland, and he didn't even ever want to play in San Antonio, and it showed when he was out there. So then we spent all that money on him. We didn't go out and get anyone else. DeMar DeRozan's our best player by far. And we'll probably lose him next year in free agency too. So it's a rebuild time, and I love Popovich. Popovich, to me, is like on Mount Rushmore of sports figures for me, would be at my desk. but it's probably time to move on. To be honest, I
And
think
trust me, you said you were happy when Aldridge, bye. You were happy about that.
I just called it early in the year. I'm like, why do we still have this loser on our team? Man, he didn't even want to play there, and he showed it. He didn't even look like he wanted to play. But anyway, I was happy when LaMarcus Aldridge left. But unfortunately, I think it's time for Popovich to go. I don't think his style works anymore for San Antonio. And I hate to say that because I love the guy, and he'll always be, a god to me. But it's time for Popovich to move on, us to get a different coach, and we'll go through a rebuilding phase, and it's coming. It's going to come as soon as DeMar DeRozan doesn't re-sign with us. Not that DeMar DeRozan's the whole team, because we still have Rudy Gay playing off the bench. We got Patty Mills. Murray plays well. White plays well. Jacob Patal plays well. All those guys will play well, and we'll stay competitive, and we'll be right there on the edge of the playoffs every year. But we're going to go through rebuild mode, and I'm just glad we got into the play-in this year. I'll say that. I think we should have played a lot better against some teams. We should have had some more wins this year, but it is what it is. We'll probably end up playing the Lakers, and I hope we destroy the Lakers, to be honest. That's the only thing I care about.
So let me ask you a question about this. Since you've been a Spurs fan your whole entire life, how long do you think it is before Greg Popovich decides to retire? Because I can tell you, San Antonio's not going to fire him because of what he's done there. So for Popovich to leave, he's going to basically have to be like, that's it, I'm done, I'm walking away.
How long? I don't think it's going to be long, to be honest. I think that we've seen it this year already. He's missed like 5 or 6 games this year, which is the first time he's ever done that as the coach. And today, he didn't coach just because he wanted to go to Tim Duncan's Hall of Fame ceremony. What does that tell you? He doesn't want to go coach his team because he wants to go be with one of his former players. Even Popovich knows this is over. He knows that the run is over, that San Antonio's run of 22 consecutive seasons in the playoffs has come to an end, and they're going to go through rebuilding mode. And honestly, he's going to tell you he's too old and he doesn't want to do it. And I don't blame him. So it's time to turn over the reins. And if it's not the end of this year, I believe by the end of the 21-22 season, it will be a new era coming into San Antonio.
I think it depends on what they do in the playoffs, even if it is a play-in tournament. But I mean, the NCAA has the first 4, which is kind of a play-in tournament.
Right.
So I mean, but they consider it to be in the tournament. So
I mean, what else does Popovich have to prove at this point?
He doesn't have to prove much. He already did.
He's second all-time in wins as a coach. He's got 5 championships. He's got Hall of Famers in David Robinson and Tim Duncan. Tony Parker's borderline for the Hall of Fame. He's coached all these guys. He's won 5 championships. How many division titles? How many consecutive seasons of a winning record? How many consecutive seasons in the playoffs? The guy's got nothing left to coach for. And if he really cares about the wins, then he'll keep coaching just to get the wins title. But that's never been Popovich. He doesn't care about statistics. He's never been a flashy guy. He's always been, we're going to do it this way, we're going to grind it out, and we're going to win. And this new style of NBA, I don't even think is for him. He doesn't like shooting the 3. He likes driving it into the lane. That's what they lived on. They lived on small ball and defense for years. And so this NBA is not for Greg Popovich. And I think that's why by the end of next season, it'll be over.
Well, I mean, it also depends, too, no matter if you're an older player or younger player. You have to change up your style of play depending on, what position or what part of the team you're on. You have to change up what you're doing in order for your team to have success.
All right. So jumping away from this, before we jump into our trivia, I wanted to do something else a little special too. And we're going to do a little game of Would You Rather NFL edition. Okay, so I'm going to have 8 Would You Rather questions, and then we'll jump into our final thing of trivia for the night, of course. So your first Would You Rather question, and Chris, I'll start with you on this one.
Okay.
Would you rather have Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers for one final drive? For one final drive.
Tom Brady.
All right. J-Mac.
I think that's a very complicated question, and here's why.
It is complicated, but
Complicated question for me is, are we talking Tom Brady at 43 years old, or are we talking Tom Brady in his prime at 33? Because if you're taking each quarterback in their prime, I think that as far as making something happen with their feet, I think that no one beats Rodgers at that. But as far as knowing where every single player is on the field and just the sheer intelligence of the game, I probably would take Brady. So, as I said, it's a really complicated question.
Yeah, and this is the answer. A lot of people, the only reason why a lot of people said Rodgers on this was they said, give me Aaron Rodgers for hypothetical final drive because Rodgers has the mobility needed to escape, and he can a majority of the time make something out of nothing.
And that's what I was just saying. Yeah.
And so that's why they said you can go ahead and throw him in there and be like, that's why right there. And now Brandon Herrera though is talking about, he's saying take number 4, which he's talking about Brett Favre. He's saying take Brett Favre hands down. Now, if you're talking about, I don't know, smarts wise, maybe not, because Rodgers has the smarts for it. Brady has the smarts for it. Favre just kind of throws it up there and hopes for the best.
Yeah, but Favre is fearless, though. I mean,
oh yeah, absolutely, he was absolutely.
The one thing I'll give Favre over both of them, and everyone knows it's my childhood idol. I'm not going to sit here and go into all that. The one thing I'll give Favre over both of them, the guy could put it in the tightest window I have ever seen in my life. He could throw the ball so hard.
Oh yeah,
through anybody, and he didn't care. I've seen him throw 5 picks in a game, and then in the fourth quarter, he's still taking his team down on a game-winning drive at the end of the game. The guy was fearless.
That was the Bengals. That was against the Bengals.
It was, and the guy is fearless. And so, yes, number 4. If I gotta be like, all right, we're gonna take a chance. You know what? We're either gonna win or we're gonna lose on this drive. Who am I throwing out there? I'm taking Brett Favre because I know he's gonna go out there and give everything he's got, and he's gonna make a play to the very end.
And I'll tell you one thing he won't do, and he won't take a sack. Like he would not take a sack. If he was about to get sacked, he'd just throw that sucker up there and be like, hopefully my guy will make that catch.
but also Favre he felt loose. He was always in a good mood. He had fun. He did all the stuff. Nothing seemed like would bother him.
Yeah, he did it for the love of the game. That's why he did it.
And to me, I mean, I'm not saying these guys now don't love football. That's not at all what I'm saying. But I'm saying that the way he played, he was to me the last true one that was out there because he loved playing football. There was times where he would tell you, I would have played for free. And I believe during his Green Bay Day games, there was games he would have played for nothing just because he wanted to play football. At the end of his career, I mean, at the end of his career, it was about the money. I mean, and why wouldn't it be? If I'm almost 40 years old and someone's wanting to pay me $25 million for the year, I'm probably coming back too. But I'm just saying, during his career, there's times he wanted to play for free, and I don't know that the guys now would do that as much.
No, because you got to think a majority of his career, at some point, he could have left and got more money elsewhere. He could have. But he wanted to stay in Green Bay. He wanted to stay there.
There's a story, and I don't know how true it is, but there's a story that said that the Dolphins once actually offered to make him the highest paid player in league history at one point during an offseason. And he signed for way less in Green Bay, way less.
Because he didn't care about the money. He just wanted to play, and he wanted to stay in Green Bay and play.
Yeah. So
all right.
That's the difference.
So now jumping to our next would you rather question, and this one's going to be fun. You guys are going to rather enjoy this one. because this is a would you rather start your NFL franchise with Jimmy Garoppolo or Kirk Cousins as your quarterback.
Oh, God.
Um,
Oh, Lord.
And J-Mac, I'll
of
start
course
with
you're
you
going to
on
make me
this one.
start. Yeah.
This one I'll start with you because I went with Chris on the last one first.
Hold on. I got to flip a coin. Landed on tails, so Jimmy Garoppolo. Because there's so many questions I would have. Do I have a good offensive line? Do I have a good defense? Do I have a good running back? Do I have good receivers? Because that would change everything for me. And it's not that. We're not talking about with the team around you. We're just strictly talking about the guy. And between those two, it's a flip of a coin. So
yes, because I'm talking about if the NFL came out and said, so far you haven't picked any other players, but your two choices to start for your quarterback, you don't have anybody else on the team yet, is Garoppolo or Cousins.
And I go Garoppolo.
Yeah.
And pure flip of a coin, I'm guessing.
Pure flip of a coin. Garoppolo. Yep.
Only because he was, I guess, trained by Brady. I would go with Garoppolo.
It's still hard. It's still one
Right.
of those toss-up questions that I'm like, man, which one are you going with? Which one do I trust more in a big game? Well, I mean, not Kirk Cousins. I mean, when it comes to big games, you can't trust Kirk. You can't trust Kirk Cousins. You just can't. But Jimmy Garoppolo, I don't know. It's still hard. It's still hard. Oh man.
But Garoppolo went to a Super Bowl as a starter. I mean, he did as a backup too, but he went to one as a starter. And almost,
So
at the beginning.
Brandon Herrera saying I would start my team by folding them if those were my two choices. So his team would just fold. He's like, screw it, I'm folding my team. It's over. But for me it'd be tough, but I don't know. I think, to me, who has a little bit of a better arm? It's Kirk Cousins. But when it comes to bigger games, he doesn't have it. So for that reason, that's the reason why I would take Jimmy G, is because Kirk cannot win the big game. So that one was a little bit more. All right. So your next question is: would you rather start a franchise with Sean McVay or Doug Peterson as your head coach?
Ooh.
Sean McVay. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
Sean
It's probably Chris's turn first, but I don't care.
No,
Sean McVay. Sean McVay.
I would never, ever in my life start with a coach that gives up on a game. I'm sorry. You could say whatever you want about that last game, trying to win my ass, okay?
He gave up.
If you're trying to win, keep your quarterback.
Up. And I never, ever want to have a coach on my team that gives up on a game. So I will never pick Doug Peterson in that situation ever.
If you're trying to win, you keep your quarterback out there.
And think about it too. When people are looking for their new coach, oftentimes you hear this team is looking for the next Sean McVay. It's not they're looking for the next Doug Peterson. It's they're looking for the next Sean McVay. So at that point, yeah, you have to go with Sean McVay. He's a young coach. He's creative with the playbook.
He also has a good memory.
Oh, absolutely. The dude has a phenomenal memory. One of the best decisions that he helped make was getting rid of Jared Goff. That was probably one of the best decisions that they came up with, and Sean McVay agreed and said
he took a team to a Super Bowl with Jared Goff. Let's not forget that.
Oh, absolutely.
He drafted Goff and
no, he
I don't know. No, that was Fisher, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then Goff went bye-bye, which was the right move. You could tell that Sean McVay was not sold on Jared Goff. You could tell. You could tell.
They started a backup towards the end, and
Wolford. It was Wolford.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you could tell. Okay, so the next question is: would you rather build a defense around Khalil Mack, or would you rather build your defense around Aaron Donald?
Aaron Donald, just because he's been way more dominant than Khalil Mack has the last few years.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah.
I think Donald's more consistent.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I have to go with Aaron Donald on that too. Aaron Donald is a guy that when you talk about defensive player of the year, he's always in that conversation. Almost like every year you're like, who's the first person that comes to mind? Oh, Aaron Donald. He's the guy. He comes right to mind like immediately. He's that guy.
Well, I mean, offense, you got a couple players you can think of, but on defense, you really have one, well, maybe two now, because you have, I think Jamar Chase from Washington.
Chase Young, you mean?
Chase Young, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You have him and Darnold on defense, so it's kind of going to go back and forth with that one. But he's always in the conversation, Darnold is.
Yep. All right. So, let's see. Goff will beat. Let's see. It says Goff will beat the Packers twice, the Bears once, and the Vikings 0 times. Oh my gosh, Jared Goff. All right. Right. So let's move on to the next one. Which the next one is: would you rather have Julio Jones or Odell Beckham Jr. on the receiving end of a Hail Mary?
Julio Jones.
Odell Beckham.
Ooh, we're different.
Wow, we got split. So, Chris, you tell me.
Yeah.
What's your reasoning for picking Odell Beckham instead of Julio Jones?
I don't know. I feel like they're older players, but I feel like Odell has a little more speed. We saw from his rookie season, he can catch the ball really well. He can do one-handed catches, and then also he can play with injury.
Yeah, but okay, I know what you're saying about the speed, but think though, this is a Hail Mary, and so when Hail Mary, sometimes having height is a huge thing, and Julio Jones has the height. Julio Jones has it, and Julio Jones has hands too. Julio Jones has fantastic hands too, and so I don't think that people give him enough credit for as good as hands as he has. But he has the height and he has the hands. It's close, but I got to go with Julio Jones just pure off height and hands because he can get up over the top of people.
Has nothing to do that with for me, honestly. At least Julio Jones doesn't have the personality of a wet mop. So let's just keep going on that.
And Brandon Herrera saying who is throwing the pass. Well,
doesn't matter.
No, I don't think it really matters. I got to go with Jones anyways. Yeah. I really do. All right, so our next one is, would you rather have Marshawn Lynch or Leonard Fournette for one goal line run to win the game?
Marshawn Lynch every single time.
Bring out the Skittles.
Why don't you ask the Seahawks?
Yeah, I know.
They'll tell you.
You know, the joke goes, the reason he signed in Oakland is because he was in the interview and he was like, so Gruden, if you're at the 1 yard line in the Super Bowl and it's goal to go on the 1 yard line, what are you doing? And he's like, running the ball with Marshawn. Deal. I'm signing.
You know why he asked that, right?
I mean,
that Super Bowl when he was with the Patriots.
Yeah. Marshawn Lynch every single time.
They never did.
Leonard Fournette is. Leonard Fournette's a good running back, but he's not.
His first couple of years he was really good, and then he kind of went off a little bit because injuries were plaguing him, and they caught up to him, and he couldn't stay healthy, and so Leonard Fournette, he could have been that guy at one point, but Marshawn Lynch is known as beast mode. He's had the beast quake a couple times, so Marshawn Lynch.
He's Mr. Ownership now with a couple things, couple teams.
Yeah, let's not get into fan control.
We're not getting into the fan control.
No, I'm not saying that. He's doing other stuff besides that. But.
Yeah, I know, but we're not getting into fan control league. That atrocious.
No, I wouldn't. No
football. Yeah, no.
That atrocity it was.
Oh my God, it was bad.
All right, so jumping into our next one is: would you rather have Adam Vinatieri or Sebastian Janikowski for a 55-yard field goal to win a game?
Janikowski.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really see. I mean, I kind of have seen him a couple times kicking. I've seen more of Vinatieri more.
Well, because Vinatieri played for New England. You were going to see
and Indianapolis.
He's Mr. Clutch.
He played for both Colts and Patriots. He kicked in the snow. He kicked in the Super Bowl.
He did.
Couple times.
And-
He won the game.
And Vinatieri's Mr. Clutch.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Janikowski could kick the ball a mile.
Yeah, he could.
They both can. It's kind of a toss-up. It's kind of the coin flip.
Janikowski was taken in the first round.
I mean, that's true, but I don't... Sometimes getting drafted in first round, fourth round...
I mean, it was Al Davis, but...
Right?
Just win, baby.
So, Chris, which one are you saying?
Yeah.
Are you going with
Vinatieri?
You're going with Vinatieri. J-Mac, you're going with Janikowski.
Seabass, yep.
And I think just off of experience and clutchness, I gotta go with Vinatieri. Just based off that, because the dude is clutch. There's really when I think of it, there's really only like one kicker that I would probably take in front of Vinatieri, and that would be Justin Tucker, because he's the most accurate kicker in NFL history, and I think anybody would take Justin Tucker. That dude's just so clutch and so good. He's money.
Bailey was for a while, though. Then he got hurt.
All
Then he
right.
went to Minnesota.
Any way to bring the Cowboys back into it.
Our final would you rather question will be, would you rather have Tyreek Hill or Deshaun Jackson for one punt return to win a game?
Ooh.
Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Deshaun Jackson.
You tell me when the last time you've seen Tyreek Hill fumble the ball, pick it up, and run it back for a touchdown.
As time expires.
As time expires.
Yeah.
When the coach tells the punter, don't kick to him, kick it out of bounds, do anything, don't kick it to him.
Which here's a little pop quiz really quick for you. Does anybody remember that punter's name?
Matt Dodge.
Yes, Matt Dodge. It was Matt Dodge. He was punting for the Giants. How can you not forget that? Because you could see Matt Dodge on the field just right afterwards with his hand on his helmet and doing that. And Coughlin's like, "What are you doing? I just told you, don't punt it to Jackson." And you punted it to him. He fumbles it, picks it up, freezes for like a second or two, and then finds his hole and he's gone.
Wasn't that like the first game to open up MetLife?
Something like that. And I'll tell you what, I think that Coughlin was saying a little more than that on the sidelines.
I guarantee it was. And Chris, to answer your question, it was not, because if you remember, it was later on in the season when they were both fighting for a playoff spot.
Yeah. I know it's the second miracle in the Meadowlands or something like that.
Yeah, but this one, and J-Mac, I completely agree with you on that. I can guarantee that Coughlin was a little bit more upset than just being like, "What are you doing?" You know, he was dropping some F-bombs in there and kind of screaming and being like, "You're lucky that you have a job after this game," which that was the only year he punted for the Giants, and the next year he was gone.
It's a Brandon Bostic situation, yeah.
Oh, you just had to bring up the sore subject of Brandon Bostic. I knew you were going to bring up that sore subject. Brandon frickin' Bostic. And,
I mean, it's not hard to figure out when it's like he's on the NFC Championship team, you know, or the divisional game, and he's on the team, and then that onside kick happens, he fumbles, and the headline the next day is the Packers cut Brandon Bostic. Like, you know, they didn't even let him back on the plane back to Green Bay. They're like, your ass is walking home.
Try to find a cab.
So, if you remember last year when the Falcons did that really stupid onside kick and they let Dallas recover because they sat there and stared at the ball. Well, Brandon Bostic, he came out and tweeted after they showed that picture, and his tweet underneath was "I feel your pain."
I think I saw that. Yeah,
So-
the watermelon kick and
So I'm like, you feel their pain, right? Well, no, they didn't touch it. Like, they stared at the ball and let Dallas recover. What
way is it going?
Bostic was just simply supposed to block, and he couldn't even do that. He had to try and be the hero and grab the dang ball.
With Jordy Nelson right behind him. See, that's why I don't want to get into this.
Right, exactly. But you started this. You brought up
I know.
Brandon Bostic. It's a sore subject.
I know.
At least to make me feel a little bit better, I can bring this up, and it makes me feel a little bit better, and I can say double doink, and that just makes me feel a little bit better.
No, Bears fans will be upset with that one, though.
Doink. Hey, and that's okay, because it makes me feel better when somebody brings up Brandon Bostic. I can just say the double doink, and I just feel much better about it. So,
Yep.
and then obviously if you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, all I have to do is mention the whole Aaron Rodgers down the sideline, a nice little pass to Jared Cook, on the sidelines, making that catch.
And then Cobb a couple times.
Huh?
And then Cobb a couple times.
Oh no!
Randall
I'm talking about the Jared Cook one, right on the sidelines with the toe drag.
Yeah.
Pretty much as time's expiring. You can't tell me that wasn't one of the best throws you've ever seen.
That was.
He's the best tight end we've had in the last 10 years, and we let him walk. Jared Cook gave us that. I mean, the guy was great. He would have been great with Rodgers, but we let him walk, unfortunately.
But I think Tanyan's going to be that guy too.
I think he will, but Jared Cook was underappreciated and he was underrated. He still is.
Definitely. Well, guess what? We're out of time, so Chris, you're off the hook this time. You don't have to do any trivia. So you're now off the hook. Our Would You Rather segment took a little bit longer than expected, but that's okay because it got us into some deep conversation on why and why not we would take these individuals in certain situations. So, Chris, this comes to you, and you tell me you got 30 seconds to 45 seconds. Any remaining things you got to say?
Thank you guys for watching our broadcast, following the pages or the page, and we got good content coming up, and just keep following us.
J-Mac, you got 30 to 45 seconds.
Catch the Four Bros Radio Show
Time's
Monday
up.
night.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
Four Bros Radio Show Monday night at 9 p.m. Pacific time. We got a special guest this week. Won't reveal that until the show. Just give a shout out to everybody. Thanks for watching Sports Minute. This is Lifelong Dreams here. And Sports Minute I'm so glad we made the transition with this, and you guys are still watching, so we appreciate you so much.
Sports Minute, that's right. And I am Ace, and I want to thank everybody again for watching. So tomorrow night we're going to have another round of our You Think You Know trivia show. So catch that tomorrow. That'll actually be 12 Central, 10 Pacific, and 1 Eastern. So if you're ready to see that, you can hop right on the Coast to Coast Entertainment Network and you can watch it. And then tomorrow night, we have another episode of Between the Ropes, and we're going to be breaking down the pay-per-view, which is WrestleMania Backlash. We're going to be talking about that tomorrow, so be ready for that. And with that, I hope everybody has a fantastic night, and we will see you again on Wednesday for another episode of Sports Minute.